Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lechad likneh Shel Hanukkah. Hello, I'm V, historical costumer and unapologetic loud Jew, here to take you through 1,000 years of Hanukkah traditions. For anyone new here, here's the obligatory disclaimer. Jews are too diverse of a people for me to represent every single Hanukkah tradition there is in one video, and also I happen to fit entirely too neatly into the American stereotypical image of what a Jew is, so please do not take this video or my practice as a representation of the entirety of Jewish existence or practice. That's simply not possible for one person to do. I am wearing the clothes of an early medieval Ashkenazi Jew, linen underdress, a red wool kirtle or dress, and a rectangular linen veil wrapped around my shoulders and head. And also modern glasses, because I'm about to light stuff on fire, and I should be able to see what I'm doing if I do that. We are going to talk about the original Hanukkah tradition, the Menorah. This tradition comes from the happy, miraculous ending part of the Hanukkah story. After the Hasmonean Revolt, which was the successful revolt by the Jews against a conquering army that wanted to assimilate them and force them to stop practicing Judaism, the temple had been sacked, and there was only enough oil left to keep the ritual lamp lit for 24 hours. The miracle is that the 24-hour supply of oil they had burned for all 8 days, hence the 8 days of Hanukkah. There are some differences between this menorah and that historical lamp. For instance, this has 9 branches, whereas it's believed the historical menorah in the temple had 7. Secondly, this menorah burns candles rather than oil. There are actually some menorahs that have like little teeny oil lamps in them, but I'm basic and I like things easy, so candles it is. There is 1 candle lit for each night. We're gonna say it's the first night. And then there's always 1 extra to light the others with. This is called the shamash or helper. This goes often in the center, sometimes to the side, and it's always placed usually higher or lower than the rest of them to differentiate it somehow. The other ones always have to be even. So you would light first the shamash, then you would use it to light the other candles. Come on, stay lit. And then there is the blessing you heard me sing at the beginning of the video, which means, "Blessed are you, our God, ruler of the universe, who hallows us with commandments and commands us to light the Hanukkah lights." Happy Hanukkah! It is now the High Middle Ages. Specifically, it is the 13th century when the Jewish liturgical poem Tsur was written. I am dressed as a high medieval English Jew. I'm wearing a red wool kirtle. I have my blio, which has the big sleeves and the laced sides, and I'm wearing a circular veil pinned onto my head with a headband that matches the trim. My hair is in 2 braids, which are out and visible because I'm not married. Observant Jewish women did, and many still do, cover all of their hair if they are married. So if I was married, my hair would probably be taped to my head and wrapped up in a kerchief. And also, we have my dear friend and partner in Jewish historical nerdery, Anna, who is dressed in the clothes of a high medieval Sephardic Jew. So we're gonna sing not all of Tsur, but like a verse or 2. I'm going to very shamefully read lyrics off of my phone.
It is actually not previously a Christmas carol. It's got a lot of the common tune of it is considered that, but it's not. It's old.
Anna is actually a much more academically qualified historian than me.
Going to go into folklore and history for masters.
So there's a bunch of different tunes. And you know the more familiar one.
I know the Germanic one, yes.
Yeah. The tune is 15th century or earlier because folk traditions are wonderful and we never have firm dates for anything.
That's fair.
We just, we know this is when somebody first wrote this down, but we don't know how long something existed before anyone bothered to write it down.
Yeah. This song was written during the Crusades, aka the 13th century, which, while not specifically a Jewish tragedy. Involved a lot of tragic Jewish parts.
The 13th century is basically when things went to absolute shit for Jews in the part of the world that I have dressed for, culminating with all of us being kicked out of England in 1290 without our property.
The Crusades brought up a lot of anti-Semitic things throughout Europe, to be fair. Goes through kind of a lot of these persecutions. Passover is one of them. Haman, aka Purim, which is another celebration. All our holidays have 3 parts. They tried to kill us. We survived.
Let's eat.
This is one of them.
So it's like 5 different persecutions, and then the 5th verse is Hanukkah.
Yes.
And then the 6th verse, which may or may not have been written after the fact, is could we please have no more of this persecution nonsense?
You can tell people really listen to the lyrics.
Behold my kitchen, and also me in 14th century clothes, late medieval period. We are going to make sufganiyot, which date from sometime around this era. Sufganiyot are little jelly donut things. Sometimes they're little teeny donut holes, sometimes they're not so little at all. I made dough this morning. It's yeast raised. We're gonna hope I kneaded this enough. I can't really roll up these sleeves. Like, what did you do? How did you not get flour all over your sleeves? Is there a prayer for hoping your dough rose?
We got the best part of this down.
The easiest achievement. Well, I might have spoke too soon.
Aren't there like medieval songs or something about putting buns in ovens?
Yeah, they're all incredibly suggestive.
Exactly.
Here goes. Happy donut noises. I think they're ready to flip.
Nice.
This would be so much easier if I didn't have a thermometer to work around.
So one of the actually interesting things about sufganiyot is that there's a very popular similar dish in the Netherlands called olie bullen. And according to at least one source, there's this idea that the olie bullen actually probably came from Sephardic Jews fleeing during the Inquisition. Actually, probably one of the reasons why it's popular is because of the oil, because oil's a big deal around Hanukkah. There's like this and latkes are
basically any fried food.
So the olie bullen has no filling, and there's a theory that that's proof that it came from the Sephardic tradition, because the jelly-filled concept comes later due to Ashkenazi Jews / just Germanic influence in general.
What did you fry them in? If you were in like the Netherlands and didn't have olive oil, which is what I figure Mediterranean Jews would be using.
The fat of a goose. A singular goose, but a goose. Probably more than one goose. If you decide to replicate this in the ways of the elders with goose fat, you will be okay.
According to Kashmir, but they might be gross.
They might be gross. Actually, yeah, they're probably gross. Is that then you can at least claim that you're being historically accurate. And there we see the natural medieval
old
lady
14th century woman in her natural environment using microwave radiation. Mind your manners! There's one.
Alright.
I managed one. Stab. Oh. Oh! I murdered it a little. Okay. What we should do though is we should clean up. So I am now dressed for something vaguely resembling the 16th century, and we are going to make latkes, which date from this time period. So the latkes we know today are shredded potato pancakes, fried in oil, like all good Hanukkah food is, but potatoes weren't really very in Europe in the 16th century. Like, people had just barely figured them out because they come from the Americas. 16th century latkes were actually made from turnips. So I have bought a big honkin' turnip, and we're gonna make some potato ones to eat, and we're gonna make some turnip ones for historical experiment and experimental archaeology. We're gonna find out if it tastes any good. So the reason why Jews always have very strong opinions about whether you do or you don't peel your potatoes, or you do or you don't eat the potato peelings, is during the Shoah, the Holocaust, Jewish prisoners were fed, of course, the worst food. The Germans ate the middle of potatoes and the Jews ate the potato peelings, which are actually really nutritious. Which is why we should put them in vodka. So there's always this really intense debate, and the two sides of it are either you eat the potato peels because they kept your ancestors alive, or you don't eat the potato peels because that's what the Nazis tried to feed your ancestors, and the Nazis can go themselves. We are not grating these by hand. We're using a food processor.
Just like in the medieval times.
That's probably, I shouldn't do that on the internet. Don't be like me. So we're gonna squeeze as much of the moisture out as possible to get them to fry nicely. I've actually never cooked with a turnip before. I don't know what that says about me. 3 tablespoons of flour. Would they have been able to afford pepper? Maybe they could afford a little pepper, but I'll only use a little bit. Potatoes are turning pinkish because we didn't put onion in this. Onion keeps them like sort of a golden color, but I can't eat onion. Have to be careful of splats. Being all pretty and golden. For the turnip latkes, I'm gonna use olive oil because I figured that would be available to Mediterranean Jews. Here goes a turnip one. It's not holding together quite as well as I would expect, but it's gotten nice and brown on the bottom. Sometimes accessibility is sitting in a chair in front of the stove to cook. I'm a bad Jew and I forgot to get sour cream and applesauce, so we're just gonna have to try these plain. Here's a potato latke and a turnip latke. It tastes like a latke.
I think that's the biggest problem about cooking with Jews, is we already know what to expect out of this.
Exactly. I don't know what to expect out of a turnip latke though.
Really? I kind of like it. Here.
No.
No?
No. Just no.
It's got a horseradishy taste to it. Well, you know, like...
Maybe with enough salt and pepper, but you... No. Ugh.
Yeah, fun fact, apparently this is supposed to have cheese.
Okay, so apparently either the turnip ones were supposed to have cheese in them as a binder, and that's why they fell apart, or there weren't supposed to be turnip ones at all, and there was supposed to be something with ricotta cheese and raisins and rice, which honestly sounds a lot better. So maybe next time we'll try that. Maybe if I manage to have an actual Hanukkah party, we'll try that.
All right. In the meantime.
But for now, I'm gonna say I'm sticking with potato latkes. So we're doing that thing again where we completely skip past the 17th century and straight into the 18th, for which I apologize and promise you some eventual, very exciting 17th century Jewish clothes. They involve pirates. And now, for the 5th night of Hanukkah, we are going to talk about gelt. Just about all American Jews, I figure, probably lots of Jews other places, and probably lots of non-Jews in lots of places, are familiar with these guys, the Hanukkah gelt that you see popping up in grocery stores. They're little pieces of chocolate wrapped in foil, stamped to look like coins. Some of my favorite ones are like coins from around the world. They're very fun. And this comes from a tradition to give gifts of money, particularly to one's teacher around this time of year, that appears to have later been associated with Hanukkah. The reason we are doing this for the 5th night is the 5th night of Hanukkah never falls on Shabbat, and you're not supposed to handle money on Shabbat. So this would be the ideal time to give any gifts of money that you wish to give. So, for the 5th night of Hanukkah, I have purchased some Fancy Pants, dark chocolate, fair trade, etc., chocolate gelt, which I shall be popping in ye old, very historically accurate bubble mailer. and sending to my not quite a rabbi friend, Ari, who is in rabbinical school and who is the person I always go to when I have questions about the spiritual side of Judaism or, you know, any of the stuff that I just straight up didn't grow up with and might want to talk to a rabbi about. I have also written them a little card. I even got out the fancy pen to do it. Dear Ari, I know you've been in need of spoons lately, and while I cannot send you those, I hope this chocolate will similarly improve your well-being, or at least your happiness. May your studies continue to be fulfilling and your questions good, and hurry up and do them so I can join your congregation. Your loving friend and student, V. And since I've sent Ari all the fancy gelt, I'll eat the cheap stuff. So, the 6th day of Hanukkah is on Shabbat this year, and while I have never been one to turn off all my devices or put down all craft projects, I am trying to be better about actually taking the time to rest and decompress. Also, yesterday evening I was recovering from a medical procedure, so I didn't really have much choice. June's Journey, which is a bit of a favorite in the CauseTube community, reached out a little while ago and asked if I'd like to try out the game, so yesterday evening I did. I've never been much of a phone game person since I am a total klutz with tiny screens, but you can actually play June's Journey from a tablet also. It's got the same sort of ambiance and immersive setting that I love about watching historical dramas, with a really strong emphasis on the plot. And the gameplay doesn't have any of the things that make me struggle with games in general. The controls are simple. You just click on the hidden objects to find clues and advance the storyline. There's no big flashing timer bar telling you to hurry up or you lose the game. I hate those. They always make me panic. If this also sounds like an excellent option for when you want to turn your brain down but not off, you can download June's Journey for free using the link in the description. You can play on Android or iOS devices, and if you want a screen even bigger than my tablet, it's also on Facebook games, so you can play from a computer. Thanks very much to June's Journey for sponsoring this video, and now I shall turn off the camera and go back to resting like a sensible person. For the 6th day of Hanukkah, I am dressed for the Regency era, empire-waisted white cotton dress and hair in a psyche knot with ribbons. So I figured this would be a good time to do something suitable for any Regency era rake. Gambling. Dreidel is a very old game played with a 4-sided spinning top, most often by children. It may have developed as a sneaky way of studying Jewish practice in times and places where that was banned, or it may just have been a fun game related to spinning tops in other cultures. There are 4 Hebrew letters on the dreidel: Nun, Gimel, He, and Shin, which stand for the Yiddish words nicht or nothing, ganz or whole, halb or halved, and stellerein, please pardon any mispronouncing, for put in. These are the rules of how you play the game. There's a pile of money or gelt or candies or whatever you're playing with. You take turns spinning the top, and depending on where it lands, you take the whole pile, half the pile, do nothing, or you put one of your pieces into the pile. Jews also love acronyms and wordplay, so the 4 letters on the dreidel also form an acronym for part of the Hanukkah story. Nes Gadol Hayasham, meaning a great miracle happened there. In Israel, the lettering is a little different, with a peh instead of a shin, so the acronym changes to Nes Gadol Hayapo, a great miracle happened here. So it's a really good thing I didn't actually eat all of this gelt, or I'd have nothing to play with. In the mid-19th century, we start to see the roots of our more modern attitude towards Hanukkah as a bigger winter gift-giving holiday. It coincides a lot with both Jewish integration and assimilation into Western society, and also with the revival of Christmas celebrations and how that holiday became commercialized. I am dressed for the 7th day in my gray cotton 1850s gown over a white blouse to fill in the open neckline and sleeves, and my hair is following the fashions of the 1850s, where width and curls around the face were popular. A tradition I hadn't known about before researching for this video is that among the Rebbes of the Nadvorna, a Hasidic clan or dynasty originating in present-day Ukraine, it's traditional for the Rebbe to play the violin after the menorah is lit. I am not a Rebbe or a part of the Nadvorna, but I did at one point know how to play the violin. So let's see how much I remember. I wanted to play a Jewish song, but it had to be something simple because I haven't practiced regularly in ages. The lullaby Raisins and Almonds is an old traditional, but it became especially popular when Abraham Goldfaden arranged it for his musical Shulamis in 1880. I would like to preemptively apologize to all klezmer musicians, Irish musicians, and particularly my friend Will for the fact that this song is going to come out covered in Celtic ornamentation. Apparently, that's just what happens when you mostly know Irish and Scottish music. So towards the end of the 19th century and into the 20th, you start to see this really increased commercialization of Hanukkah. A lot of this may have been driven by Jewish children who were spending more time with Christian children their age and seeing them have these big celebrations for Christmas and then going home and asking their parents, why don't we get to do something like that? So it's also around this time that you start to see the tradition of giving gifts other than gelt for Hanukkah become much more widespread, especially for children. In a lot of places, it's traditional to do like one small gift per night. And particularly among people of my heritage, that being mostly Ashkenazi Jews from the Northeast US, people will get very skeptical and sarcastic about the notion of gift giving for Hanukkah. You would get these very small gifts, or you would get these very utilitarian gifts. And one of the things that has become almost a running joke is, well, what have you got for Hanukkah? Socks. Boring, functional socks. So I thought, why don't I send some socks for Hanukkah to two of my favorite Jewish costubers, Muse and Dionysus, whose channel I will link up here. And in order to do that, why don't I get some help from my favorite historical accessory shop, PennyRiver Costumes, which is run by Jess. Hey Jess!
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good.
What are you in the market for?
Okay, so you know Muse and Dionysus, right?
Yeah.
I want to get them some socks for Hanukkah.
That's awesome. That's a great gift.
Thank you. Okay, but I might need a little bit of help choosing.
I have so many. Give me just a second. I have like a whole box. Okay, I have some hand-dyed silk ones that would be perfect for Tudor, and also I've used them for Regency. And there's a cool thing about these, because they're rainbows, they come with a donation to the Trevor Project.
Oh, that's amazing. Muse and Dionysus will love that.
These are like my feel-good project, my feel-good stock, like a golden, kind of an eggplanty, a teal, a red, a green, and this pretty like violet blue color.
Maybe the sort of magenta eggplant color and the yellow.
Yes, these are, oh gosh, these are beautiful. All right, I'll put those to the side for you. For practical stuff, if you want to do, I have some wool. I've got actually two different types of wool. I've got really thick, like happy warm feet, and then I've got these like fine wool ones that are, they're really like, I wouldn't know they were wool except that the tag says that they're wool, and they're very, very soft and they're nice and lightweight. So I have these. And then I have like 14 different colors of cotton. Are like constantly probably my highest rated product that I sell.
I think everybody knows that I am an absolute sucker for wool.
Ooh, okay.
So I'm thinking I might actually want to send them each a pair of the really nice wool ones.
Okay, like these, the fine ones? Mm-hmm. These are lovely. Did you want to get any garters?
Yeah.
Okay. The ribbon garters can do a one-time wrapping, but I've got a bunch of colors and they're all in stock right now. So if you just like name a color, I can like match or whatever.
Oh, awesome.
What color do you think would go with everything?
With everything, probably like a middle blue, or I have silver.
Silver sounds great.
Silver, okay. I'll do a silver, like a really pretty silver silk ribbon.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have, just gearing up for the holidays, I've got like 6 colors of like the stripe and the tape. So I have like red and light blue and yellow. And I think this is like a forest green, which green is nature's neutral. And I know you love green. I love green too.
Don't I know it?
Yes.
All green wool.
Okay. So maybe I'll do like a green cotton. Are we set?
Okay.
Are we good?
Yeah, I think we're about set. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to send these to them.
Yeah, I hope they love them.
And by the way, everybody, I just need to inform you that the pair of socks that I have from Jess is literally the nicest pair of stockings I have, and my legs are impossible to find stockings for. So I will link her in the description.
Oh, that makes me really happy. I'm so glad that your legs like the stockings, because these are like, I love these as well.
They're great. Okay, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. Bye.
Bye.
The menorah has been lit. Latkes and sufganiyot have been cooked. Gelt has been given. The fiddle has been played. Gifts have been sent out, and we have done so many traditions. Thank you all for joining me for this little Hanukkah celebration. Don't forget to pop down in the comments and tell me about your favorite Hanukkah tradition that you celebrate or that is celebrated by someone you know. And while you're at it, leave a like and subscribe for more Jewish history, historical fashion adventures. I will see you in my next video, in which we will actually get to work on the Myra Lapidoth evening gown. Bye! We'll say it's the first night. Oops. Do you want to say anything about the history of Mao Tsur before we sing?
Do I know the history of Mao Tsur?
I don't know, do you?
Yeah, Joyce. No one ever expects the Spanish Inquisition, as they say.